Oh, what's up, boy? Ah! Good to see you, man. Good to see you. Listen,
Thanks for
man.
having me.
This is 4 years too late. That's what the name of this actual segment should be.
Yeah,
4
sure.
years too late. But yeah,
Absolutely.
I'm glad to have you here, man. And
Appreciate it, man.
let's have some fun.
Absolutely, let's do it.
Oh, yeah. All right, guys. We have. Thank you for joining the segment today. I have here with me Ryan Olenek, and first and foremost, we're going to get into, the NCAA just, of course, released a statement allowing players to be compensated for their name and their likeness. And so, Ryan, just give us your thoughts on that. Do you think players should be compensated, and if so, to what extent? And go from there.
I personally don't think that they should be compensated just because these are kids. College is where you're learning to grow up and stuff like that. And I think they are being compensated already in a sense as they're you're receiving scholarship. A lot of the players, depending on the sport. Me personally, baseball. Scholarship isn't really a big thing in the eyes of the NCAA for baseball players.
Right.
So I think it's like 11.25 or 75 per team, and we have like 35, 40 guys. They're just close to it. So, but no, yeah, I think I don't know. I just think these are kids, and I just think it just doesn't really feel right. They're amateur players. They're not professional, so I don't think they should be getting paid as such, like a salary.
And also, my take on it is some would argue that some of these players are bringing in huge revenue for programs.
Yeah.
That are coming from different socioeconomic backgrounds.
Of course.
And I'm going to transition into just your sheer numbers while you were playing at Ole Miss. You finished second in hits, second in at-bats in school history, and fourth in hits, second in at-bats, and number 2 in doubles for Ole Miss. And so one would say that you were that just your presence and just your presence alone was bringing in, we're putting butts in seats. Mm-hmm. So just how do you feel about how does that make you feel now looking back at that?
I don't know. I personally think, just like a player like that, a big name player, I think the fun part about college sports, I think the reason why people like to watch college sports is it's for something bigger than themselves. It's you're not really discussing money. You're discussing a national championship.
Yeah.
You're not discussing the biggest signing bonus. You're discussing just getting to Omaha, getting to postseason, just preparing. We used to talk as a team. Just coming together and just for a bigger purpose, something bigger than yourselves. And some pro teams like to. The successful pro teams instill that. The Patriots. If you want to be a part of the Patriots, you're buying into the system or you're out. And they win a lot. They have a system in place. We had a system in place, and so I think it kind of being paid for a big name player that would take away from the team aspect of it. And I think that's what everybody loves about college sports is everybody's coming together on that field, and then everybody in the stadium is pulling for that team.
You're right.
And they are pulling, more so for some individuals.
Yes.
But that's because those individuals may help the team win. And so I think that's why people like individual players, because they affect the team.
Correct.
And so that's the way I look at things. I just kind of look at it from a team aspect, just because that's the mentality that was ingrained in me for 4 years. So.
And also on the flip side of what you just stated, of course, the big name players. I think everyone is pretty much focused on the big name guys. But me personally, I'm more focused on, for instance, soccer, the women's soccer team, volleyball.
Everybody touches the ball.
Places like that. Maybe they could benefit from an extra $1,500 a month.
Yeah,
or the last player on the bench.
Yeah.
If you will.
And there's certain people that come from, like you said, economic backgrounds where they couldn't necessarily afford to play here without a salary, like living here, or something like that. But a lot of scholarships for let's say football, certain situations, they do housing, they do, stuff, but you can't live in a dorm forever. But then that scholarship ends up still going towards, apartment rent checks and stuff like that.
Month to month.
Yeah, so that's why I've always just believed, scholarship is a sort of, compensation. But I think, you can always twist something and to say there's certain situations where, you know, of course you would feel for a guy, you know, like if there's someone struggling, of course you want the most for them. I mean, you know, and I'm not one to take away from someone, you know, if they've earned the right to get money, you know, for a certain situation, I think if you're going to do that, do it professionally. But that's just my opinion.
Yeah. I got you, man. I got you. And moving on to, of course, after your junior season at Ole Miss, you were drafted in the 17th round by the San Francisco Giants. Just talk to me more about that, just that process overall, the reason you came back to Ole Miss, and things like that.
Yeah, a lot went into it, obviously. I mean, I would say it's clearly the biggest decision I've ever made in my life so far. But I just, you know, the main thing, it was hard to pass up another year at Ole Miss. I mean, this place is something I couldn't have dreamed of even coming to. I mean, everybody took me in with open arms, and I really felt like I was, you know, part of a family. And you know, this became my second home. So it would have been really hard to say goodbye to Oxford, but at the same time, you know, it just didn't really feel quite right, I guess. You know, the situation, you know, I came off a really good year my junior year. You know, expectations were
batting over 300. Yeah, batting over 300.
I was
at one point you were, oh my God, I don't know, like a 40-game hit streak.
Oh yeah, it was like 20-something games for like over 2 months. I hit like 560 something for like 2 months.
I don't know where that came from. I remember it.
At one point in time. Well, no, that I think the junior year I was the toughest player to get out in all of college baseball. Just because I think it was like I had like 13 walks and 260 something at bats, but I also had like 10 strikeouts or something like that. So
and you get all these numbers, and you still get drafted in the 17th round. You know what I mean? You're in the SEC, the toughest conference in the country.
Yeah, hit 410 in conference, and I still went 0 for my last SEC series. And yeah, I mean, and, you know, that's why it just didn't really feel right. You know, I just kind of felt. I mean, you know, expectations were different than some that happened, but you know that, you know, as life happens, things happen. It's a business. I understand that. You know, I'm not naive, so you know, I wasn't angry about it. It was kind of just life was pushing me one way. You know, I kind of saw firsthand, you know, what was going on, and thank God I picked it up early and saw it early, and I just didn't want to be a part of that. You know, I didn't feel, you know, bamboozled or tricked. I just, you know, I felt like I deserved something, and you know, when I didn't get that, then it was you know, time for me to make a decision.
And I know, coming back your senior year, I know you had a chip on your shoulder because it was the third week of the college baseball season. You were a National Player of the Week. I don't know if you remember that or not. But yeah, you were a National Player of the Week the third week in baseball season. And of course you come back with, I mean, just doing what Ryan Olenek does. Get hits. Don't get out, get hits, get on base by any means necessary. Even if it includes injuring yourself. Getting hit by pitches, sliding, tackling, and everything. So tell us more about just all of the nagging injuries you've had while playing at Ole Miss.
Well, not to brag, but if I'm not mistaken, I think I also set the record in hit by pitches. Most hit by pitches. So, but no, a lot of people don't really realize what a player goes through every single day. And I mean, just me personally, our sport, we play the most games of any sport. We play the longest games usually.
Oh my God! Yes.
I mean, there are every single day for 4 years. You go to class from 8 a.m. to 11 or 12. You show up to the field immediately after that. When you get lunch, before, on your way, whatever. You're at the field from around, most guys, 12 o'clock, 12:30, 1 to no later than 7. I mean, no earlier than 7. So, I mean, you're dedicating around, you know, 8 to 10 hours a day to your sport on top of school. So,
and just so you guys know, this right here, this interview is about 3 years overdue due to the schedule that he just presented to me.
It was,
due to the schedule. So it's crazy.
I mean, even summers, breaks. You're working towards you guys are working towards a goal. It's a year-long thing. That's why we all get so close because we're dedicating a year. I mean, you're dedicating all of your time to that. I mean, it's your life. So, but a lot of people don't realize every single game when something happens, an injury happens, and that player's out for a week. No one really thinks about the rehab that the player had to go through that week and how hard he had to work to get back to even feeling close.
What are some of the injuries that you had to overcome?
I mean, my first day ever at Ole Miss.
Yeah.
First day ever. Summer, before I even was enrolled. I mean, I was just becoming enrolled as a student here. I was front squatting, broke my first rib. My first rib snapped.
How much did you weigh at that point at the time?
I was probably 155 pounds or so.
How much weight was on the bar?
I don't even remember, man. I think it was a warm-up set. Yeah. Like, I don't even know what was happening. And
had you ever front squatted prior to?
No. I mean, just a raw, high school kid. But so that happened, and it was like great, good start. And then that was, I mean, it was just a
downhill.
I guess not downhill, but I mean, just add on. I mean, it went. I've broken pretty much all my fingers. I got a pin put through my thumb, a couple weeks before my junior year. I got, I dove into second base against Texas A&M, dislocated my finger, and then literally that was when my junior year, when the hit streak started, was that game. I literally had to tape my finger straight for that entire year. So I taped my middle finger straight.
And how many weeks in a row? Well, how many games in a row was your hit streak?
I think it was like 24 or something like that, or 25. Yeah. I don't actually know the exact number, but I mean, then that same year, I dove into first base during that hit streak and dislocated my shoulder and tore my labrum. Posterior tear my labrum, and so I was dealing. I mean, there were times I was in the middle of an at bat. I'd foul anytime I swung at a high fastball. I'd foul it off, and my shoulder would literally dislocate like sublux and pop out of the socket. And so as a fan, there's 10,000 people at every game, and I foul off a pitch, and I'm standing there, and my left arm's kind of like hanging down, and I'm just going like this. You guys are kind of like, oh, that's kind of funky. But I'm sitting on there
popping
just
your
like,
shoulder back
oh
in place.
My gosh, what? Like I can't move my arm. And then it's just kind of like trying to work it back in place, and you're trying to. Then I'm trying to hit, and and then maybe let's say I were to strike out. Those fans they couldn't care less. I mean, they're upset with you because you just struck out, but you did. I mean, no one really thinks like these are people too. And Correct. So when I come back from an injury like that. Not only do they not think about the work that goes into it, but they just automatically think you're better. If you're back playing, hey, you're you're healed. And there are games I couldn't even run right. I couldn't even. But you got to do what you got to do to perform. Get on the field.
Exactly. And as I know, we spoke several months ago on this issue, of course, about student athletes being people as well. At one point a couple years back, you were suspended. You were suspended for a game for yes for the baseball toss into the student section. Yep. As much as you can elaborate on that, tell me more about that situation.
It was just I was just a kid at the time. It was opening weekend my sophomore year. I was actually it was the third game, that Sunday game. We were going for the sweep against East Carolina, and that year they were, I think, ranked like 7th or something like that. And Godwin is actually the coach who recruited me to Ole Miss. He was the coach here, and so he went there, and so it was kind of like I had a chip on my shoulder that weekend especially. But I was just a young kid, and there were what got me was the fact that there were Ole Miss fans that were kind of getting after me a little bit. Me and Kyle Watson, he was in left. It was getting loud. There was a pop-up. We couldn't hear each other calling it at the same time. Collided, ball dropped. Couple runs scored, but, almost, it was like close to the last inning, made the game pretty close. I mean, they were saying some things that
very inappropriate things.
Can't repeat. Yeah. Absolutely. And, I was upset, and then had some slight influence from, not going to name any players on the field, but our right fielder at the time, one of my good buddies, he suggested that give it a little toss
a little extra juice. Yeah, because the tradition is, of course, the outfielders throw the balls back to the student sections throughout the game. And so at this point in time, he was asked or persuaded to just put a little extra juice on the ball back into the student section.
They write, when they get the ball, they write on it, and they write something, and then you like look at it, and it's kind of like interactive. They'll write like one or two, like options and stuff like that, and like that. Sometimes when there's golf tournaments going on, they'll write like the box score of like the top 10, like the leaderboard or and stuff like that. So it's pretty cool. But and let's take it a little too far. I do regret it. It was an immature decision, and you live and you learn.
Of course. Let's I guess talk more about your post baseball career. What are you doing currently? Like what are your future goals?
Well, currently I'm an intern for a Fortune 500 company, International FC Stone. I work with municipal securities, so the bond traders, and I work I get in the office around 7:30. Market opens at 8, and then it's 8 to 5, and we work hard there, but right after that, I go straight to the coast, straight to the water, and I'm fishing, right away. Keep my clothes and poles in my truck, and I go straight from work. I go fishing with my buddies pretty much every day after work.
Tell us the good spots to fish at in Florida.
Man, I can't give away my secret holes, but we a lot. If you're in Florida, you're in a good spot. I'm telling you, I promise you that.
Great answer.
Man, Florida is you can go pretty much anywhere and catch fish, but I'm pretty grateful to have a lot of good buddies that like to do it too.
What's the biggest fish you've caught so far?
I mean,
on average, let me ask you that. On average, the size. Yeah,
it just depends on the fish. We're going deep sea fishing, so we're catching sharks that are like almost as long as the boat.
Yeah.
But we're dropping hundreds of feet down. But there's you're catching. We catch 40-something inch redfish. Right offshore, but inshore, but like right off the the jetty. But we catch them all. Catch a ton of fish.
And of course, you're currently interning with the Fortune 500 company. Is that what's your long-term vision for yourself? Have you thought about that lately?
Yeah, so I'm actually I'm interviewing right now with a couple companies, but medical sales, tech sales, just try to get into the sales force. I really want to work with people and develop relationships and try to help people any way I can.
What about coaching one day on any level?
Man, I like to think I'm, one day I'm going to be coaching my kids, but not necessarily the head. I don't want to be the head coach. I don't want to coach my kids, but I'll work with them. Maybe have like I don't know if I want them to play baseball. We'll see. What they pick up first. We'll lay a couple balls. Soccer ball, basketball, whatever. No, but I don't know. We'll figure it out. I don't think I'm going to be coaching anytime soon. Try to stay away.
And lastly, what would you tell the younger version of yourself 10, 15 years ago?
Man, well, one thing I've really learned over my experience here, I really think I can honestly say, I've grown a lot as a person. I've matured a lot as a person. And the one thing I've really realized life is about is just becoming more and more secure with yourself, becoming an everyday learner, just becoming the best version of yourself you can. And I think the more secure you can become with who you are, every day, everyone's different. Every single person, there's not one human that's the same on this planet. And I think instead of just saying that there's differences, I think you need to become more secure with yourself and be the best you can be. Because that'll in turn help everybody else, I think. And if you can become secure and happy with yourself, I think it just, it makes it really easy to wake up in the morning and just be happy with who you are. And, not trying to be something you're not. It's frustrating and tiring and exhausting being something you're not. And I think the quicker you can learn to be comfortable and just be yourself, that is, I think, is what's helped me the most in life is just being secure and just being able to wake up every morning and just know what I want to do. Know my short-term goal is to wake up, put a smile on my face, and start the day and see it as a new opportunity. I have there's two people that are really important in my life. Henry Ulrich, he comes here a lot. We have an endowment fund for him. He's become part of the Ole Miss family. He's he's our inspiration here at Ole Miss. But me personally, I also have some more inspiration back home. John Michael Knight. He's he's changing the world too. He's one of my best buddies. So
not to cut you off, but let's dive deeper, of course, into both, but more so John Michael.
John Michael, yeah.
John Michael. Of course, I'm bringing the bat into the equation. This is an actual, authentic Ryan Olenek game bat.
Yep.
And just talk to us more about the significance of the bat.
So
and your pre-at-bat ritual.
Yeah, so I had this sticker on my bat right on the knob of it, and it said JM Strong for John Michael Strong. And I would look at it when I would walk up to the plate, and I'm in the on deck circle, and just a little reminder of him. Just it kind of keeps you grounded. It's not necessarily I'm gonna do this for him, but he's my motivation to just do everything I can to the fullest, and no matter what happens, just try to stay positive. Just because he's back there working hard and fighting, and he's not getting down on himself. And he's got a great attitude, man. He's one of the greatest kids I've ever had the pleasure of knowing, and you kind of want to do it just because he's that guy, so you want to be that for him, kind of thing. And so he was just it was really fun to be able to think about him and to have that little reminder there. And then you step in the box, and it was game on from there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Ryan, man, I'm gonna be honest with you. I really appreciate you sitting down with me tonight.
Absolutely, man.
I think it's 4 years too late, but it's the right possible time for the both of us.
Absolutely.
And so yeah, I just want to thank you for coming to the show.
Thanks, bro. Appreciate it, Paul.
I'm doing things that they said I could. I just gotta make them see one time.
Paul, dude.
What are you doing over there? Let's go, dude. Come look at me. Look at me.
Give me go down.
Super slow-mo dramatic.
Hey, here's my caption. 4 years overdue on Halloween night. This one will be special. Ryan Olenek, ladies and gentlemen. Boom! Just straight to the point.
Dude.
Straight to the point.
That's it. I like that.
You ready for TV, bro?
Oh yeah.
I know I am. Appreciate it.
Oh yeah.
Oh, you talking about me or?
I'm talking about you. He be on TV enough. Look at me. He do this.
Oh yeah. Appreciate it. They say, wait. That's it right there.
It's crazy because being on TV is really a skill.
Yeah. I mean, he's got it. It factor.
Hey man, I appreciate it.
And
You heard it, those people?
yeah.
Ladies especially.
You heard it here first.
Free, I love the kids.
I'd say you heard it here first, but everybody's been saying that. You know?
Everyone's been saying it.
Come on, everybody's been saying
I appreciate it. Nothing but love. Wait, hold on. Nothing but love. Now hit the wall. Right there. Going up. Whoa.
For the underdog, yeah. One time for the underdog, yeah. One time for the underdog, yeah. One time for the underdog.